I've been looking forward to this conversation with our guest today, Don Palmer. Don is the founder and CEO of the Malpa Project. To tell us more about it, we welcome you, Don.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you, Keith.
I want to ask you what Malpa means and then what the project's about.
Yes, Malpa is a word that comes and is well known in the Western Desert, west of Alice Springs, amongst the Warlpiri and Pintupi people. And when I asked them what word should we use to call ourselves and what we're doing, they said, use the word Malpa. And Malpa is universally understood to mean friends on the journey. And by this they meant Indigenous and non-Indigenous people walking together.
That's a lovely thought. We often don't think in that way from the non-Indigenous world, do we? Tell us then what the project does and how long it's been going.
Yes, the heart of the project was to find a way that empowered Aboriginal people so they could take control of their own health destiny. And the idea is a mirror reflection of the traditional way of doing health, whereby the Ngangkari in the Western Desert, that is those with the health knowledge around medicines but also around mental health, would look for children as young as 4 sometimes, in our case children around about 10, kids who have got the right outlook on life, the right attitude and aptitude, who are alert to the needs of others and to themselves. And they start taking them aside and giving them the health knowledge, the clinical knowledge, as it were, but also mental health ability, so that they can hold their people together. So these kids grow up knowing that they have a special place, an important role in the life of their community, and they become in turn doctors. So they think of it as young doctors or child doctors.
Mm-hmm. Quite strange for us to even begin to imagine that, but there are 2 things about it that strike me. One is that it's not a case of flying in to do it from outside, which is often how we do things, but also it's one discerned from within the community.
Yeah, I think for many Aboriginal communities, they're just so fatigued by, you know, well-meaning non-Indigenous people coming in with, I've got the answer for you.
Yes.
This was an answer that emerged from the people. When I asked them, why does nothing work? And they said it's because things aren't done our way. And then they explained what the traditional way was, worked for 60,000 years and produced fantastic health. So what we're doing is giving them the capacity to feel empowered, to take control of their own destiny. So we resource them, we walk alongside them, but it's theirs. They design it, they figure out what they think the important content is for their area, what their kids need to know.
And is this in a particular area that you're focused on, or is it spread across other areas?
Yes, well, we started initially in the town camps around Alice Springs, that very 4th world conditions that people live there, great pain and suffering. And we started there to see how it went. And then by word of mouth, it's moved into regional and rural areas in New South Wales, Northern Territory, ACT, Victoria and South Australia. And the thing that, one of the many things that excites me is that it has the same success everywhere it goes. And I think it's because people feel that it's theirs, that it emerges from their need and their sense of hope, and they see very quickly the results of it and have a renewed sense of pride and self-worth.
And how does the Christian faith inspire its values and the things that for you are important? How's that inspired you in this work?
I think, I mean, the religious values, the ones that were so important to me in my growing up and my maturation, are things that are sort of part of my DNA. And in a way, they're not articulated, but they're expressed in what I do. And that is that like Jesus would do, he would sit alongside people and simply be with them. I think being is a really hard challenge for people. We always want to do, but to be with people and to have them articulate what their needs and hopes are, and then to see how we might bring some sense of support in that, or some enabling way of going forward, and for people to discover that they have the capacity to do things for many Indigenous people, it's always been done to them or for them. And I think we're sort of saying, no, this comes from the core of who you are, from your spirituality, from your dignity and worth, and you can create things of real significance and social change.
Give us a size. You talked about the locations. I mean, how many people have been trained in this way? Or that sounds a bit imposing from outside, but you know what I mean. How many young people have been involved in this?
Well, what we do is there are 15 kids in each project, and they come together for 15 weeks, an hour and a half a week. We always have non-Indigenous children involved as well, and that's what the elders said they wanted. They said this has to be a learning thing, a respectful thing. And it's been very healing and reconciling for that. Currently there are just over 1,000 children who have been trained by their communities, and we currently have another 500 in training for the second half of this year. It's just been growing from 12 in the beginning and just been mushrooming, and because it resonates for people, and they get pride and results out of it that they can see.
Now, Dom, before we finish up, if someone's listening to our conversation, as they will be today, and they say, this is something I'd like to belong to, contribute to, what would they do?
Yes, there's a couple of things they can do. Firstly, it needs to be in the context of knowing that what happens in our projects is very localised. All the people involved are local people, so we don't have a sort of a fly-in, fly-out mentality. But what we would do if people got in touch with me, and they can find the details on our website, that's malpa, malpa.org.au, where there are videos and various good news stories and things there. If they get in touch with me, then what I would do is connect them with the project, but the project managers would come and sit down with them. And if the chemistry's right, and if the people in the project felt, well, these people would be very welcome, then they take that initiative. They take ownership and responsibility for what happens and where it goes. It's not localised in me.
Then I really want to wish you well as the work continues and grows, and we'll discover again. It takes on new clothes, new ideas as it moves along.